Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:07. It's Wednesday morning, and we are all over the news here on O'Connor and Company. We've got so much to talk about coming up at 6:35, just 30 minutes from now. Kerry Picket of the Washington Times has details about what appears to be perjury from Christopher Wray, the FBI director, having to do with targeting traditional Catholics for investigation. 7:05 brings us Laura Reese, Heritage Foundation, latest on that Colorado man. You know, are we going to start calling him Colorado man? Hey, Chris Van Hollen has a new cause.
Yes, exactly. Here. Just a father. Colorado father.
A father of five. And, oh, my gosh, family separation. They're deporting his wife and children.
I'm
this is
feeling
outrageous.
Verklempt.
The anti-Semitic terrorist, who happens to be a Colorado man, and the disposition of his family now being deported. 7:35, Karina Lipsman is running for that special election in Virginia to replace the late Jerry Connolly. 8:05, David Bozell, Media Research Center, as hopefully he's doing a bit of a preemptive victory lap as NPR and PBS is finally facing the chopping block. And at 8:35, Jenny Terr of the New York Post. Larry O'Connor here with Julie Gunlock there. Whew! It's a lot ahead. Got to get through it, right? So, yeah, let's talk about this terrorist, the latest that we know here. First of all, just to re-up the story, if you don't remember, on Sunday, this illegal alien who was allowed in and allowed to stay under a work permit during the Biden administration, Egyptian national, went berserk and created a makeshift flamethrower and threw Molotov cocktails trying to incinerate innocent elderly Jewish Americans who were having a weekly get-together on a public square to draw attention to the hostages being held by Hamas since the October 7th, 2023 massacre. This man targeted these people because they were Jewish and because they supported the state of Israel. He screamed "Free Palestine" and screamed "End the Zionists" while he was trying to incinerate them on our streets. As Guy Benson noted the other day, and I thought it was a very good observation, the radical political left ideology in this country has moved now from burning American flags to burning American human beings for their political cause. And
yeah, and I think I think Guy actually made this point as well as did others, that if this were a white supremacist, if this were, some, radical right-wing person who screamed hateful, racist things and then, set people on, for instance, people marching for BLM on fire, I mean, the country would come to an absolute standstill. And I can't imagine, the sort of activities we would see. But yeah. The fact that there hasn't been widespread condemnation, and in fact, one of the city council members in Boulder has refused to condemn this act. I mean, this is a sickness on the left. And it isn't just with radicals. This is a sitting city council member in Boulder who's decided not to condemn it.
Oh, and it was like pulling teeth to get Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah. And they put together, and they put out condemnations like, well, we condemn all violence of all types by all. But no, this is very specific what we're seeing here. Mohammed Solomon, 45, Egyptian national, accused of injuring 12 people. He's facing federal charges, hate crime charges, all that stuff, was living in the U.S. Illegally. He's really been here illegally the whole time. He came here on a tourist visa.
Right.
Then, about a month and a half later, made a false claim of asylum. Then the Biden administration, and his tourist visa expired, so he was here illegally. Then the Biden administration, inexplicably, with no explanation, they give him a work permit.
I know.
So
I know.
You come here on a tourist visa because you want to go visit Mickey Mouse and Universal Studios. You overstay that visa, and then the Biden administration gives you a work permit? With all the people who are waiting in line and spending money in the immigration process to try to get a valid work permit in this country, and this guy's allowed to stay, then he overstayed that work permit this last March, and now he's hurling Molotov cocktails at innocent Jews. We now have learned that he was here with his family, a wife and 5 children. Love to see how much money we were spending. I want to know if they were getting Medicaid. I want to know if they were on food stamps. We know they were getting public education in the school systems in Colorado. Yeah. The wife and the children are now on a fast track to be deported, according to ICE. They've all been detained by ICE. And there are people actually screaming about that. They're saying, well, they didn't do anything wrong. Why are you punishing them? Because we taxpayers should foot the bill for the wife and 5 children of people who are not citizens of this country, in this country illegally, whose father just committed a terrorist act.
Yep, time to go home.
Time
to go home. Yeah. Oh, and you know that also people will say, wait a minute. He's got. We have to go through due process. He applied for asylum, so now we have to fully investigate that to see if he should. I mean, it's insane. We're gonna some low-level judge is gonna issue some injunction. Just wait for it. It's so predictable. This is all gonna happen.
Jenny Terr of the New York Post has a write-up on this and the details about the impending deportation and the fast track for deportation on this. And you're absolutely right. People will be scared. And for everybody who claims that every single person in this country deserves due process in an Article 3 trial, not an Article 2 executive branch administrative trial, which is basically a rubber stamp. I mean, here's how the trial should go. Are you in this country illegally? Yes, Your Honor, I am. Okay, you're gone.
Bye.
That's it. There's no other mitigating circumstances, okay? That's the trial. We really have to waste our time with this? But they think they should get an appeal. Every single case should be able to go to the Supreme Court, according to the left. And they're absolutely going to try to do the same thing with it. Anybody who claims that there's due process rights for every single individual that involves trials and appeals and a trial by jury of the peers, please explain to me why this wife and 5 children should not be fast-tracked for deportation. Please make the case. I'd love to hear it.
I mean, he was so oppressed in his native country that they let him come here for vacation.
Yeah, exactly. You're claiming asylum from Egypt. Why? Because you're too radical for them or not radical enough?
Right, exactly.
Jenny Terr has the write-up in the New York Post. She's going to join us at 8:35 to sort of give us the latest on that and the details about it. And more important, I don't want to say more importantly, but really, honestly, from a D.C. government perspective, more importantly, at 7:35, we're going to speak with it's 7:05. Laura Reese, she's the director of Border Security and Immigration Center over at Heritage Foundation. She used to work in the Department of Homeland Security. We got to talk about this policy. We have to talk about the nuts and bolts of these policies, because this is a perfect example of why so-called due process does not apply. There is a reason, and maybe in our final minute here, Julie, you can expand on this. There is a reason why immigration was moved to the Department of Homeland Security when it was formed after the September 11th attacks. Immigration is a national security issue.
Yes, and we're currently in this battle right now of whether Trump has the ability to deport people who are obvious dangers to our national security. I say yes. Democrats, though, of course, want to keep all of these people in the country because mentally ill people support them. So, I mean, this is the battle that we're in. The president has got to have the power to deport these dangerous people. And again, everyone's forgotten 9/11. Everyone's forgotten why originally we wanted to give the president this power.
Well, the political lines are being drawn on this, you're right, not only to protect the people who are in this country illegally and even those who were directly associated with known terrorists who admittedly told the police that he wanted to kill all the Jews. Let's definitely give due deference to his wife and children who aren't in this country legally and don't have any right to be here. But even more so, the organized political left and the leadership of the Democratic Party, including Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, yesterday took aim at ICE agents and wants to do very real harm to ICE agents, the men and women who are in the front lines actually enforcing our immigration laws. We're going to explain that to you in just a moment. First, though, at 6:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Next day installation sale. MetroFlooringContractors.com.
Criminals were allowed into this country for the last 4 years en masse from other nations. And we're talking about organized criminals, part of murderous machete-wielding gangs from El Salvador and Venezuela, groups like MS-13, Tren de Aragua. We know this for a fact. The Trump administration, trying to clean up the mess that was created by the Biden administration, has made a robust effort to target the criminals. Now, these criminals are in the barrios, in the inner cities, living in homes right now because Democrats who run those cities and states have sanctuary policies where they refuse to cooperate with federal ICE agents. So they let these people out on bail. They don't hold them in the jail and hand them over to the feds to deport them. So now federal ICE agents have to go door to door in very dangerous situations to round these people up.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've seen the photographs and videos of these operations where the federal agents are dressed to protect themselves like they're SWAT officers, right, to make sure they've got body armor. We want our cops to protect themselves. And they are wearing oftentimes scarves or masks to cover their identity from the nose to their chin. And then they wear sunglasses. And anyone who looks at this, it's obvious why. It's because they're dealing with hardened criminals, organized criminals. You're also got people with cameras who will take videos and take pictures and then try to dox them and threaten their families.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Law enforcement have done this for decades. When they go after the mob, they conceal their identity because they know that their families will be killed.
Yeah, and it's not just the organized crime who might target them or gang members who might target these people. It's the insane people who live in these neighborhoods, and we've seen this. People living in these first of all, you're absolutely right. These gang members know where to go. Go to a sanctuary city, which, the mayors brag about this. They brag about being, my God, the sheriff of Alexandria put out a statement talking about how they're a sanctuary city and they won't cooperate with ICE. So, of course, that's like, hi, thanks for the memo. Now, as a criminal, I know where to go. As an illegal alien or as a gang member, I know where to go. So then they concentrate into these blue Dem-run cities. And then when ICE comes in to try to, get rid of these people, round them up and get rid of them, you've got regular people citizens living in this neighborhood who will harass these ICE agents and who will take photos of them and try to dox them.
Well, adding to the harassment is the minority leader of the Democrats in the House of Representatives, because Hakeem Jeffries now wants to dox these agents. He is vowing to reveal the identities of ICE agents. Take a listen to him yesterday from the House.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will, of course, be identified.
What a pig this man is.
What a pig.
Excuse me. I don't like name calling, but that's despicable and disgusting. Fanning the flames of this, suggesting that this is some sort of Gestapo effort or secret police, he knows very well. Let's be clear here. How can Hakeem Jeffries threaten to identify them? Because Hakeem Jeffries knows very well that each one of these officers has a badge. It's visible. There is a chain of command. They are operating under color of law. In fact, excuse me, Hakeem Jeffries, they are out there enforcing the laws that you in Congress passed. They passed these laws. They're not breaking the law. He calls it overreach. Overreach is enforcing the law. They are enforcing the laws that Congress passed, and now this jerk is out there threatening their very safety.
And Larry,
he knows that they are accountable. If they do something illegal, if they do something untoward, every single person in the chain of command knows exactly who they are.
There is something he just encouraged everyone to get in the faces of these ICE agents or to hurt them. And I'm telling you, when an ICE agent gets hurt, everyone should look at Hakeem Jeffries. Honestly, how is this not illegal?
This is like Chuck Schumer standing in front of the Supreme Court saying that a whirlwind is going to come down on the justices. They are fanning the flames for their own pathetic political interests. I want to let Todd Lyons have the last word here, if you don't mind. He's the acting ICE director, and he was asked by a reporter the other day. The press conference was over, and a reporter shouted out, "Why are they wearing masks?"
Yes.
And he came back to the podium and he goes, "Oh, yeah, I'll answer that.
I'll explain that."
I'm going to answer the mask question. So, No, not the mask, the mask. So a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is.
You can hear his voice quivering there with the emotion and the anger. Let me just be unequivocal. Hakeem Jeffries, with that statement that he made yesterday's, Hakeem Jeffries, with that despicable pronouncement against federal law enforcement who are enforcing the laws that his body, the United States Congress, passed into law, Hakeem Jeffries is going to get somebody killed. It's 6:23.
Coming up, we're going to talk to Kerry Picket. She's the White House correspondent for the Washington Times on that really disturbing story about the FBI targeting Catholic groups and how it was a much bigger story than the Biden-era officials wanted to acknowledge. Keep it here at 6:30.
WMAL-FM Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It is 6:37. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning routine here on O'Connor and Company. Coming up at 7:05, Laura Reese of Heritage Foundation on the Colorado terrorist. 7:35, Karina Lipsman running for the seat vacated by the late Jerry Connolly in Northern Virginia. Special election coming up. 8:05, we're going to talk to David Bozell of Media Research Center on the defunding of NPR. And then 8:35, Jenny Terry of the New York Post. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Joining us now is Kerry Picket of the Washington Times, who continues to get scoop after scoop from the FBI, and this one is a heck of a scoop. Christopher Wray, apparently, you tell me, Kerry Picket, but it certainly appears as though he was at the very least less than forthcoming when he was testifying about the targeting of traditional Latin Catholics for investigation. Unpack this for us, because if I remember right, his testimony, he really downplayed this. He said, there was one memo, and no one really acted on it, and it really didn't, none of this ever really happened. But is that the truth?
No, not really. In fact, what you had here, Larry, this was the Biden-era FBI. They concealed the extent of its anti-Catholic, and I like to call it operation, that then FBI Director Christopher Wray told Congress was limited to, as you mentioned, one single 2023 memo. But in fact, it turned out to be at least two memos. And then there were many documents that had lots of information about how they wanted to essentially go undercover to many different parishes across the country, to different cities, and it turned out that they were referring to lots of Catholics as, quote, radical traditionalist Catholics. But Mr. Wray and other FBI top officials characterized it, as you just said, as a one-off memo.
I'm really fascinated by this, Kerry, and you write in here that in his testimony, Christopher Wray, before the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, he said that he was aghast when he first learned about the memo and that the Bureau took steps immediately to withdraw it and remove it from FBI systems. Was he really aghast, or it sounds like he knew about this?
Oh, it's more than likely that he knew about it because, and I'm glad that you pointed out to having it removed, because keep in mind, when they first put it out there, it was only just days thereafter, because essentially you had about 1,000 FBI employees who ended up having it distributed to. Then a whistleblower ended up revealing it to the whole world just about 6 days later. And So it was one of those things where he was basically, they ended up saying, okay, wait, hold on a second. They ended up finding out about that one memo. Pull down the other memo.
Right.
Get rid of it. Get rid of the evidence. They wanted to make sure that nobody knew about it. And the thing about it, though, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, finish your thought, and then I'll jump in.
No, but then what ended up happening, though, was that all these memos and all this information, they were being relied upon by the Southern Poverty Law Center, as well as the Atlantic, as well as Salon.
So they're using, so this is the FBI under Joe Biden. And by the way, we've already learned, Tulsi Gabbard has released a memo that shows that the Biden administration was empowering the FBI to investigate people over their, and I'm quoting now, non-criminal activities. So specifically saying, listen, we want the FBI to look at people based on the things that they do, like go to traditional Latin Mass. That's not criminal, but it might be a pattern of behavior that may lead to criminal behavior. It's like, I mean, this is Stalin-esque behavior is what it is. But Chuck Grassley, the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, he said in releasing a lot of this information yesterday, Kerry Picket, and you make note of it in your article at the Washington Times, that he said it appears as though Christopher Wray lied to us. I mean, those are strong words. Yeah. Is the senator going to do something about it? Last I checked, that's against the law. Last I checked, people go to jail for perjuring themselves, especially when they're the director of the FBI.
Well, that is going to have to be up to the Justice Department ultimately. Keep in mind that the special agent in charge over in Richmond is still back in 2023. Is still at it's still in charge basically over in Richmond right now. Even though that particular SAC supposedly made amends and amends with the Catholic community in that area. Let's see how far that actually went. And I'd like to point out to both of you that there's a lot of special agents in charge who got promoted during the Ray era, and people don't know who they are right now. Wow. And the problem here right now is that people are wondering, well, why did they get promoted at the last second, and why are they still getting promoted? So there's lots of consternation going on right now over at the Bureau, and people want to know what's going on there. I'd like to point out, by the way, to both of you, that some people are also wondering with this report that they're saying, oh, well, it's just some memo that just went out and nobody acted on anything. There is a email within Grassley's report that showed that the field office over in Buffalo, New York, told other FBI officials in an email that two Catholic groups, quote, included in the Richmond Domain Perspective, that was the Catholic memo, and they said that, hey, we're going to act on this. We're going to actually do something with this. So if they did it, then more than likely other areas of the country where there were FBI field offices more than likely did it as well. So they want to know who accessed this memo, and they want to know what exactly went on after this memo went out. And right now, Grassley is still looking.
Lord knows Kash Patel has his hands full, but it does look like he's got some support there in the Grassley office, and my guess is the Jordan office over in the House. Kerry Picket, always great work, as usual, at the Washington Times. Thank you for joining us.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 till 9 on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
There's a lot of talk right now inside the Beltway about the reconciliation package and about so-called cuts to Medicaid. There are no cuts to Medicaid. What's happening with Medicaid is it is being restored to what is supposed to be, which is for women and children who are needy and who cannot work, and so they get health care. You may quarrel whether that's a good policy or not, but that's what Medicaid is meant to be.
Yes.
What it has become is a magnet for illegal immigrants to come to this country and get free health care that they can't get in their own country, who are non-citizens and living off of the dole. And it has become able-bodied men who can work, should work, don't even try to work.
Who are disincentivized to look for work.
That's right. That's right, because if they get a job, then they lose their health care, which they're not supposed to have in the first place. Trump administration put out a stunning statistic. the majority of able-bodied welfare recipients are not working. 62% of able-bodied Medicaid recipients, 74% of food stamp recipients are not working. I thought this was solved in the 90s. I thought work to welfare was something that Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton actually agreed upon. What happened here?
It's also important to say they're not just able-bodied. They're childless. It's not like, because, again, another one of the talking points is, well, they have to take care of their kids. They can't go to work, blah, blah, blah. No, these are able-bodied men that are childless, that are not supporting a family, that are sitting on a couch playing video games. Okay, let's
Get a
be
job.
clear. Probably getting
Get a job.
stoned. Get
That's
a
the bottom
job.
line. Get a job. This is something that we solved decades ago.
Yeah.
But slowly through attrition, through Barack Obama, and specifically with Medicaid, Obamacare, they disintegrated it. And now it's time to restore the norms. 6:51. Coming up, there's a full-on assault over law enforcement here, specifically ICE law enforcement. Laura Rees, Heritage Foundation. We'll talk about that in the latest out of the Colorado terrorist story. Plus, Karina Lipsman running for that special election in Virginia. Keep it here, O'Connor and Company with Larry and Julie.